What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back finally with league racing. If you're new to my channel and recently subscribed on F1 2017, basically this is just an online series where myself and 19 other drivers will face off against each other week after week to see who can become the Aussie Sim Racing World Champion. So yeah, if you didn't see this series on F1 2016, I highly recommend you go check it out. At least see the kind of highlights montage of the end of the season, just to get a general feel of what happened. So yeah, you guys can kind of get in the mood for some league racing. So yeah, if you haven't seen it already, this is probably one of my favorite series to make. I love the overall racing in this series, believe it or not, even though there's a little bit of lag here and there, but I always find it to be a lot more engaging to race, real people, because they're not AI, they're not predictable, and if anything, it's kind of a lot more exciting in a way, because I just don't know, it's just completely different. It's a whole new experience. But here we go, ready for the first round. Last season, just to bring you guys up to speed, I think I finished third in the championship, just behind XFitShow. New Zealand Ryan, who is now my teammate for Season 3, he is my teammate, and we're going to be gunning to win the Constructors standing. So it's definitely going to be an exciting series. I feel like there's a good 5, maybe 6 people in this league who can win the championship, and that's what really struck me last season as to why it was so exciting, because there were so many quick people at the front of the field. No one person was dominating, but any one person could win on their day, depending on how much they practice or just how much they like the track and how comfortable they were. So that's why I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in with this again. As always, I'll be looking to win every race I compete in, or at least get on the podium. Hopefully we can win the championship. That's definitely going to be the goal. Constructors as well, but we're going to take it one race at a time. If anything, heading into this round here in Australia, I wasn't that confident. I knew that a lot of people would be practicing, and the numbers in terms of the attendance was going to be really high, and anything could happen in this first race. So if anything, I just wanted to survive this first race. So we'll see how we go. But so far in qualifying, sitting in P11, we're going to improve by 1.1 seconds on our previous best lap time. I've actually gone for a dry setup for this session, because the race is going to be dry, and you don't win the points in quali. So I thought, let's just get qualifying over and done with, see where we end up, and then we'll take the race from there. But yeah, at the moment it says we're P10. I'm not too sure if I can trust that, because it does lie sometimes with the whole leaderboards at the moment, before the patch came out. But yeah, at the moment we haven't put in a great time. We've been doing the whole session on the one set of intermediate tyres, and as you can see, the last couple of laps we've had to just chuck in the bin, because we've track extended at turn 1 just due to the understeer. So those laps were a complete write-off, and I had the choice of diving into the pits and fitting on a new set of inters, but I thought, no, we'll just stick it out with the current set and just throw as many laps as we can at this to see where we end up. And now this is going to be our final lap in the session here, with 20 seconds to go as we start our lap through turn 1. I was very conservative through there, mainly just so that I could survive, which we managed to do. So we head through to the middle sector now, and this is where we're going to hopefully pick up a little bit more time. As it always goes in these rain affected sessions, it often gets faster as the session goes on, and people find their speed, they find their confidence, and it's always crucial to set your best lap, or set laps right at the end of the session, because those often turn out to be your best. But for me, this one hasn't been that great. It's only going to be a 1/10 and a half, maybe 2 tenths improvement as we go across the line. It says we are P11 in the field, and it is indeed P11 on the grid for this race. So it's a pretty vulnerable position to start from in this race. My teammate New Zealand Ryan up there in third. Warden takes pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. My former teammate from last season, Master Berserk, who is a reserve coming into this race. He's only recently turned off the assist, and he gets second place. So for us, it's 11th place, 1.1 seconds off the pace. Definitely not where I want it to be. We're definitely going to be in the mix with the midfield, and it's going to be awfully tough to make our way through the field in this Grand Prix. For you guys who don't race competitively on this game, the dirty air is really tough on this game, and when you get entrenched, behind the rear wing of someone, it's really, really hard to make progress. So it's going to be awfully tough as well with the one-stop strategy today for the Australian Grand Prix. A lot of people around us are on the super soft tyres as well. So hopefully, initially in this race, we can cut through the field on our ultra soft tyres. That was the strategy I was going for. It's what I've been practicing all week, going from the ultras to the softs. So hopefully that can work out for us today. But for me personally, I just want to get through this first lap. I want to get through this first race and get some solid points, because that's something we didn't do well last season, and we started off the season way too slow. But ready for the start of this season, ASR Season 3, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Australian Grand Prix. IPSWICH there was going backwards off the start line there, and I think he has been disqualified from this race, I can tell you from the post-race analysis. But we go through turn 1, side by side with the Toro Rosso. Joe is getting sideways on the exit curbing of turn 1, but he does manage to survive. For us though, it's been a fairly clean start, up into 9th place, so a net gain of 2 positions. Could we make that 3 as we head into turn 3? Not quite, but I will certainly take the start that I have had so far. I was almost dreading, oh, we got really close to Master Berserk there, who got shoved wide by another driver. We'll get a replay of that up in a second, but I was almost fearing getting involved in a first, lap incident. We didn't start off the season all too well last season here in Australia, but today we have actually managed to get away cleanly, which was, my biggest worry after qualifying so poorly in this Grand Prix. But either way, we carry on to the end of the first lap. You can see we're forming a bit of a train here with Poms to the win. Oh my god, it's Joe, Chimchar, and someone in front of Poms as well. So quite a massive train that extends all the way up into 4th or 3rd place. We go up the inside of Chimchar into the penultimate corner. He has the inside for the final one, and he places that Toro Rosso exactly where he needs to be. Also gave us a little bit of a squeeze there. Rubbing's racing. That was completely fine in my books. But we'll just have to get him back, possibly into turn 3. We try and have a little look there into turn 1, see if we could force a mistake, or maybe even a track extending penalty warning. But to be fair to Chimchar, he actually got through there quite nicely. A mistake there for Joe. Pretty, unlike him there, and we grab his spot. We now go to the outside now with Chimchar into the middle sector, and he gives us a squeeze, and onto the grass we go. We lose a spot to Joe, and that's us back down to 8th place, and came under extreme pressure there from Funguru right behind in the Red Bull, but thankfully enough we did have the momentum and the track position to hold on there. But as you can see here, Joe is really struggling. I believe he might have a bit of front wing damage, maybe slightly yellow, so we'll see if we can dispatch of him if we can. Round the outside through the 3rd sector, try to go really slow in there, fast out to the switchback. Didn't quite work out there, and Joe holds on to the position. You can just see how slow he is in the mid-corner there. He just, don't know if it was lag or just really poor exit speed, but we almost came close to running into the back of him there. But yeah, we managed to survive. So that's 2 laps already of this Australian Grand Prix. It's been quite hectic, a lot of close quarters so far. Hopefully we can get Joe here, as he looks to be holding us up quite a bit. You can see Chimchar getting up the road quite a bit, probably 2 or 3 seconds to him, but nice exit through turns 1 and 2. We'll have a look at Joe up the inside into turn 3 now, and given the front wing damage, I don't think he's going to fight that all too much. So it's 7th place for us. Next up is Chimchar, and hopefully we can continue to make some inroads on these guys. So yeah, you can see as we go through the middle sector, we went purple. We actually cut the corner as well at the exit of the fast left-right chicane. Greek Master is out of the Grand Prix as well. We'll bring up a replay of what happened there, but that is our first corner cutting warning ticked off the list there. We only have 2 more warnings before we get a penalty, but this is Greek Master. What? Just completely wiped out by the Sauber there. Looked like it was a bit of a lag incident. But as you can see here, this is also IPSWICH, the guy who was kind of in front of us, who was reversing off the line. Unfortunately, his car was just put in reverse, and he was holding down the throttle, and for whatever reason, that allowed him to move backwards, and you can't move backwards on the F1 grid. As soon as the race went, 5 red lights out, he was disqualified straight away. And now this is Master Berserk, who started on the front row, absolute star of qualifying by getting that high up the grid. He didn't get off to a nice start though, very conservative, pinched on the inside, didn't get a nice exit through there. And speaking of getting pinched, I think that's HO giving him a nice little squeeze as he runs into turn 3. Not great exit speed there, hits by HO, and then we saw the rest when he almost rejoined the track on top of us, and that continues into the middle sector where he completely loses the left-hand side of his front wing. So absolutely dreadful day. Another dreadful day as well. This is for Brock Does Stuff, out of the Grand Prix on lap 3. A lot of incidents there in a very short space of time. This is the kind of thing that I personally did not want to get involved in when you start so far down the order. There's a bit of lag, sometimes there's a bit of desyncing, which we saw with Greek Master getting taken out. It happens, and you've just got to do your best to try and avoid it sometimes, which is, you know, very, very important. So early on in the season, when there's so many people racing, and when the game essentially is still, you know, not in a complete state where these things can kind of happen sometimes. But either way, lap 4, you can see we're still pressing on, trying to chase down Chimchar. We're getting to the stage where, you know, our tyres are starting to feel the effects of tyre wear ever so slightly, but they should be good for another 5 or so laps, considering they are, you know, fresh tyres. We started the race without having to do a qualifying run on them, but as you can see, we kind of get close to him. We're within DRS now, but due to the dirty air, we get a whole load of understeer, and, you know, we just got a track extending penalty, so that's 3 seconds for us. You'll see on the replay here, we turn in for the corner, we hit the apex quite nicely, but yeah, we just wash away with understeer when you're caught in behind another car, which is a massive, massive thing in this game, F1 2017. Dirty air was not a thing really in previous games, but has really been, you know, accentuated by the handling model and just the level of detail that they've gone into the physics this year, which, you know, is realistic. We got the inside of Chimchar there. It was a bit of a desperate move there, trying to get in front of him. Wasn't really on there, but thankfully we both survive and we can carry on. But yeah, like I said, the dirty air is a massive thing in real F1. It's a massive component of the racing now in the game too. So when it comes to overtaking, it's definitely not going to be as easy as what it was previously. And so that just means that track position is worth so much more now, because I'm on the ultra soft tyres, and if Chimchar doesn't mind me saying this, I feel like I'm, you know, generally a little bit faster than him, but that still isn't enough to get back in front of him. So yeah, we're having a real tough time of things here, just stuck behind him, just so frustrated, not able to do anything. I just have to work so hard to get anywhere near close to him, to have a go at him into some of the braking zones. So we've pretty much fed up with the way that this race is going. We're going to box in at the end of this lap, go for the undercut strategy, and see if we can jump these guys in at the pit stops, because at the moment we're not making any progress, and the leaders like New Zealand Ryan, Warden, those guys are all stretching out their lead on their super soft tyres. So yeah, we're going to dive in and hopefully make up some time in clear air. But yeah, this lap I was really pushing on to see if I could get close to Chimchar. Didn't really work out, so I thought, yeah, let's just box now and get this out of the way. We might struggle a little bit for tyre wear towards the end, but I'm willing to risk that in order to get some track position. We've seen how important it is already. Even if you're, I'd say 3-4 tenths faster than the guy in front of you, there's still not too much you can do unless you have good straight line speed or you make a mistake. You're not really going to get overtaken, so it's just down to your consistency to hold on, really. So this is a really important race for us now. This phase of the race is probably the most important, just doing clear, you know, qualifying style laps while we've got no one in front of us. We can do pretty much our own thing and not have to worry about being overtaken or having to overtake another person. And so yeah, we're just going to make the most of that. You can see by going purple now, we're the fastest person on the track right now, and this is really the moment I was waiting for, just to see whether I had the pace or not. It turns out we do in clear air, so yeah, I'm just doing absolutely everything I can right now to make up some track time, while the others are kind of driving a little bit slower on their older tyres. And as you can see there, New Zealand Ryan is responding by making his pit stop. And I was actually quite surprised at the time as well that, you know, the likes of, you know, Chimchar, Pumps to the Win, all those guys didn't respond a little bit earlier because they've just allowed me to jump them in the order. But going through turn 1 there, I made a critical mistake. I misjudged where HO was on my inside. I thought he was there, and I thought I had to leave space, but turns out I was probably a little bit clear of him heading into the first corner. I just wasn't, I was unsure of where he was, and as you can see there, I was quite clearly in front of him, and turning in for the corner would have been fine. So a massive opportunity lost there by giving up the place to HO, and we're pretty much back at square one, except we're a little bit further up the order, but we've got another driver in front of us kind of creating, you know, that whirlwind of dirty air for us. So yeah, it's tough times for sure. So again, we're just gonna have to push on. I'm gonna push on a little bit harder than what I'd like to, just to see if I can get him early on while he's still getting up to speed with colder tires or whatever, and just really put him under pressure and see if we can force him into making a mistake, which we're, you know, hoping to do. Because if you look on the mini-map, the leaders are only, well, they're about 10 seconds in front. But if we can clear him now and make some inroads, then, I don't know, anything's possible. Especially if all the leaders, like they are now, are squabbling, then anything's possible. Especially with the effect of the dirty air, like I said. But yeah, you can see here we're pushing on quite hard, really maximizing the corners, trying to get as close to HO as we can. I think the spot that we've got to do it in is possibly in turn 3 in the first sector. HO runs wide through the first part of the fast chicane, and that's really slowed him up, and actually he's let me go. Why has he let me go? I'm not too sure why. Maybe he felt like he was cutting too many corners, or was too far under pressure and was putting the car at risk by pushing too hard, but he's allowed me to go through, and he's got on with his race again. So, I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I'll take it, and now we can just push on with the rest of our race now as we head on to the final third of this Grand Prix. You can see the consistency that we're, you know, putting in at the moment. I think it's mid-26s, lap after lap after lap, but by this stage I think I might have taken a little bit too much out of the tyres, and you can see Warden up ahead on the ultra soft tyres, meaning he started on the softs, has incredible pace right now and is just extending the gap to us. So from this stage, it was all about maintaining the position I was in at the moment, 4th place. We've now got Dominator, who has really carved his way through the field on much fresher soft compound tyres, so it's down to me to try and keep him behind and hold down, 12 points for 4th place if I can. But you can see there I just made a silly mistake, absolutely stupid. At the exit of turn 2, got a corner cut, a track extending warning, that distracted me, was kind of pissed off at the time, and that allowed, I think it's Dominator, to go around the outside, turns to the inside for the next left-hander at turn 4, and he gets me. So, yeah, really, really frustrating, you know, portion of the race. Just, well, to get a 3-second time penalty on top of the one we already had, and then to make the mistake in letting him go on the track there, it was not a good section of the race for me. But as you can see here, this is Quicksilver, my former teammate, getting absolutely taken out by the Renault of Master Berserk, and I can tell you here this was complete desynchronization of his car, because as you can see from his onboard, he's going through the final corner normally, and the guy behind just gets absolutely blown up. So yeah, I mean, the desync in this race, I heard it from other people, it was really bad, and hopefully with the patch that has already come out, it should hopefully make things a lot more stable online. But as you can see here, we're cutting back to the action now on lap 25. This is Warden on the ultra soft tyres, done a really long time on his soft compound tyres, now pitted for the ultras and has incredible pace. He makes a move for the lead of the Grand Prix into turn 3, gets my teammate, and he now leads this race with only 4 laps to go. I think New Zealand Ryan would be pretty unhappy with that, but to be fair, what can you do when the guy you're competing with is on, you know, a set of tyres that are 2 compounds softer than what you've got? And he did the best he could, but unfortunately the win wasn't there for him to take today. But yeah, that's it. 2nd place for New Zealand Ryan, 5th place for me, or at least that's what it's going to be on track, depending on the time penalties and all that kind of thing. But there we go. We made it to the end of the Australian Grand Prix. In the end, I was really just looking to survive this race and get as many points as I can. In saying that, 5th place is, you know, not the place, not the, you know, kind of results I was looking for. I was still hoping to get on the podium, but at least, you know, it wasn't something worse, like front wing loss or finishing quite low down in the top 10 like we've seen with Fitcho. And he's no pushover as well, so that could have been us today, but I'm just glad to get the points that I did. Could have been more, like I said, but, you know, I'll take it. This is definitely a better start to the season than what we had at the start of Season 2 in Australia, so yeah, I'll take it. We've just got to string together as many, you know, races as we can, get as many top 5s, podiums, and just minimize those bad days, and we should be pretty close at the top there for the championship. That's how New Zealand Ryan won it. He minimized those bad days that he had, and he came away quite convincingly in the end with the championship. But guys, that has been this video for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2017 videos as well. Thanks to everyone as well for sending in their POVs, especially Palms of the Win. I'll leave a link to his channel down in the description. That's it for today. The next race will be on Sunday. Every Sunday, it's going to be the Chinese Grand Prix, I believe, so stay tuned for that. Should be an interesting race. And until then, I'll see you next time.